Rabbit Hole Sports and Media. Rabbit Hole Radio is back with the Cure Bowl. A couple of Pac-12 teams meeting for the second time this season, and it is as it is. Apologies, not a good start here. The 9-3 Stanford Cardinal and the 9-3 Sonoma State Seawolves in what, in effect, works as a third-place game for the Pac-12. Both teams ranked in various polls. Sonoma State number 25 in the college football playoff poll. Stanford number 25 in the coaches and media poll. So some meaning on the line here as a couple of Bay Area centered programs come out to Orlando to meet for this postseason occasion. The Seawolves taking the field, led by Scott McLawler and quarterback Teron Barnes. And here are the Cardinal, led by their quarterback Elijah Brown, receiver Elick Iomanner, All-American edge rusher David Bailey, and cornerback number 6, Colin Wright. There we get our first look at the tree. Second time we get a look at him in this season, if you have been following the Seawolves campaign, as they look to finish with double-digit wins in what has been a monumental growth year for the program. Huge strides forward over the past couple of campaigns as we are playing football. Number 27, DeMarvin Holland will take it. The Seawolves will start. He makes a cut and is going to get it out to the 20-yard line as the top offense in the country will come out. You see the numbers there. 56.1% passing, 43.9% on the ground as Barnes and company come out. Tremendous run game, complementary passing game. But really, the strength of this unit is the ability to run the ball in a variety of ways out of the option, gap run scheme, and then the ability to use play action and vertical threats off of that. The senior, Keontae Tyson, playing his final game as a Seawolf. He gets the first carry and is going to take it up the middle for 17 yards, and the Seawolves will go no huddle right out the gate here. Another powder blue combination for the Seawolves as the Stanford defense comes out. Pressure off the edge and a dangerous throw from Barnes. Could have been intercepted. A little bit of inaccuracy, perhaps bailing him out there. And it'll be a second down and 10 for SSU. Red on blue matchup here in Orlando. Stanford wearing black, red helmets. Seawolves in the powder blue jerseys, white pants, white helmets. As the tight end Maverick Bentley moves across the formation. 2 tight ends on the right, 1 receiver on each side. Running back in the backfield, pistol alignment for Barnes, the quarterback who gets the unit set. On the ground again, Tyson. Nice cutting. Should have gone back outside, but it is going to be another first down on the ground for the senior. Already over 1,000 yards rushing on this campaign, looking to put an exclamation point on what has been his best and final season of college football. In the wishbone formation here, 3 in the backfield. Gregory, the fullback, the point man, with Strickland, the running back, on the right, and Nolan Knight, the running back, on the left. 2 tight ends in alignment. However, the one on the right is an extra tackle in Griffin Huff. Going to drop back and pass here. Goes quick to Gregory, the fullback, and he is going to get 9 on a first down throw out of a run-heavy formation. Another senior, number 30, Jackson Gregory, playing his final game. In the last matchup between these two teams, it was CJ Peaks, who took over. 6 catches, over 130 yards, and a couple of touchdowns in that one. We'll see if he has the same impact here today, or if the Cardinal have made adjustments. Strickland in motion on a 2nd and 1. Going to try to go quick out to him in the flat. 8 up, loss of 5, and it is going to be a 3rd down for the Seawolves on their opening drive here. Some man coverage with a weak side blitz there from the Cardinal. Did a nice job getting it out, or getting their coverage out to cover Strickland. Maybe the ball coming out quicker could have given a little more opportunity for some catch and run, but the linebacker all over it, and it is a big loss after what was a nice first down play. Ball on the right hash of the field. A trio of receivers lined up in a bunch into the boundary side. Just a lone tight end on the wide side of the field. Running back to the right of Barnes is Tyson. He's directing traffic at the line of scrimmage, and there is going to be movement, flag down. That is the senior Tyson moving, and some dirty laundry for the first time here today. Nothing says modern college football like calling out a pair of Bay Area teams to the East Coast to play each other. I feel like we had several options that would have been a better place to either play this game or for us to take on opponent-wise, but we will take the rematch. It's fun in its own way, but definitely not the intent of a bowl game. 3rd and 11, squeezing it into a tight window. That is the senior tight end, Scott McLawler, and it is the guys playing their final game for the Seawolves having an impact on this first drive. For the second time today, we see the unit quick to the line again. Gonna check with the sideline, change things at the line of scrimmage. On the ground, Strickland. His first carry of the game. Had that catch that went for negative yardage earlier. This time going to pick up 9 on the ground. See the right guard, the freshman, Miguel Weeks, pulling around. Someone who should be around for a few years with this program and has had a great freshman season. Barnes steps up in the pocket on a pass. Getting chased. He's loose. Inside the 5. And he's out of bounds at the 4-yard line. And that is a 20-plus yard gain for this Seawolf offense. And it is going to be a 1st and goal. We see it on the replay here. Strickland motioning out of the backfield. Finally get the camera set. Barnes takes the snap. As we step up here and as I get worried about being chased by the D lineman, we actually do get Scott McLawler wide open, but I was not looking down the field at all. You'll see it again here. The linebacker who is following him does something else. I can't explain what he thought he should have done other than cover the receiver. But zone coverage logic in this game. Don't, cover a guy. Just stay where absolutely no one is. That's more important, apparently. 1st and goal from the 4. There's some truth to that, but, you need to be able to alter. 1st and goal from the 4. Once again, 4th time I've said that. Anyway, once again, directing traffic at the line. Snap away. Barnes moving around again. This time out to the left. Cross body. Tyson. Touchdown. Seawolves. Noma Nation. In the end zone to get it going here. It is the senior running back catching the ball for the first score in this one today. And the top offense in the country, yardage-wise, is rolling as we get going here in Florida. Once again, not quite ideal fundamental quarterback play, but we do get the feet set, and it is a wide-open receiver across our body, but, not ideal. Not ideal. If you're a young quarterback watching this, don't take note of the improvisation, but don't view this as fundamental play. Getting out to the left-hand side here is Barnes. Turns, sets his feet. Almost get a little pick there from either Gregory or McLawler. I could not quite see who that is. I believe it is the fullback Gregory because he was the one out on a check and release, and that is about where he would have been on the field. The senior punter Matthew York sends it through the uprights for the extra point. He has been splitting the kicking duty with George Lincoln this season because York is also the primary punter, but being a senior, we are going to give him full duties today. So he will be doing all kicking, kicking off, punting, extra points, field goals, all going to be his job. His first kickoff of the day is going to go to the back of the end zone. That is going to be a touchback, and that is going to bring out Elijah Brown and Eliakiah Manor and the rest of this Stanford offense. Featuring a number of other good playmakers, including the tight end, number 86, Sam Roush, as well as a pair of halfbacks that will utilize in number 26, Cedric Irvin, and number 33, Cole Tabb. But it is going to be 3 tight ends coming out to open this one today, 2 on the left and 1 on the right. It is going to be a shift. 2 of those tight ends will go out wide. Seawolves shift to account. Brown time to throw. Now gets chased out and eventually is going to throw it away. 2nd down and 10. Was being chased, but looked like it would have been smarter to maybe run for a couple of yards and slide, but hey, whatever. We will take it. This Seawolf defense, up and down season, a lot of struggles against the pass, very successful against the run. Some of those splits magnified by the amount of passing we see, which is also kind of the norm. There is just such a massive lean towards the passing game. We're running for 200 yards a game, which, don't get me wrong, is very good, and I have not checked the per-game numbers in real college football recently, but back in the day, I would be baffled if that led the country, and we led the country. Anyway, could get into a whole rabbit hole there. But a first down on the last play. Brown, I think he got pressured there as he threw. Could not see, but an incompletion. And it is a second down and 10 for Brown and company. This passing game was very successful against us. Had a very close game with the Cardinal on the farm. The last time we saw them, it was a big touchdown throw from Elijah Brown to Elick Io Manor before we answered with a late game drive to get a game-tying field goal and send things to overtime. Two tight ends on the right-hand side into the boundary. On the ground, that is Cedric Irvin. He's going to pick up a couple, and that is going to bring up the first third down of the game for Stanford. This Cardinal team finished the year very, very hot. A little bit of an up and down start to the campaign at 4-3. Lost to the Seawolves in week 3, as we mentioned. Also lost 21-3 to Louisville, as well as 37-34 to UNLV. Third down, Brown takes the snap from the pocket. Drops back, gets it underneath to Io Manor. He'll get 5 yards, not enough for a first down, and it'll bring up fourth down from the 37-yard line, and it looks like the Cardinal will be bringing out the field goal unit on their first drive here today. As I was saying, lost to UNLV and Louisville, 37-34 to the Rebels. Up and just inside the right upright. Nice accuracy there from 54 yards out. NFL quality kick. And the Stanford are on the board. Teams exchange blows. Of course, the Seawolves getting in the end zone, and it is 7-3, about halfway through this opening frame in the Kier Bowl. Third broadcast here, Rabbit Hole Radio. That's what I'm calling the full game broadcast that we do. If you've watched all of them, let me know how you like them. Definitely curious to hear your feedback. Definitely not meant to be something everyone watches regularly, meant to be more of a place for me to vomit, but also if you need more of a football fix, get some full game action, and you get to see a team that doesn't actually exist, so that's kind of fun. First and 10 from the 25-yard line, pair of tight ends in the backfield to the side of Barnes. He's going to hand it to Tyson, and right up the middle, nothing doing against this 3-4 Stanford front. Very strong interior three from this Cardinal defense with some very athletic and dynamic players on the edge in number 23, David Bailey, and number 11, Tavoro. I'm definitely butchering that. Tafiti is his last name. Second and 11, I formation, tight end to the right side, twin receivers to the left, and it's going to go to the left to Javon Moore on a bubble. He has plenty of room. That is a Seawolf first down, and they continue to march here early, taking it to the 45-yard line. Number 10, the junior, should be back in the mix for the Seawolves, barring a transfer portal move. Has definitely found his groove in the offense as of late. Definitely more of our screen utilization guy underneath. Has deep threat ability, but it's more matchup dependent. But we can consistently get him the ball underneath in the screen game against zone coverage and when teams are eyeing the run a little too heavily, and he's played that role very, very nicely, especially down the stretch where we've really refound our footing after a 2-3 skid in the middle part of the year. First and 10 here. Barnes is going to drop back, throw quick. Looks like that is Javon Moore once again. He's got a first down, and the Seawolves are in Stanford territory. No trouble for this offense early. Good mix of no huddle and regular tempo. McLaughlin, the tight end, is on the right-hand side in the backfield. Slot receiver to the right as well. Tyson, the running back, in the backfield on the right. McLaughlin going to go in motion. Barnes off the play action. Gets them to bite. Doesn't totally set his feet, but he's going to find C.J. Pinks in the middle of the field. That is another first down. His first involvement of the game, like I said earlier. Huge game. Last time out versus the Stanford, really his breakout performance in what ended up being a very strong season for number 18, the sophomore. Barnes gets it out late on the option. Tyson looking to get around the edge. Going to throw a stiff arm. He's going to get enough for a first down, just barely. 1st and 10 at the 11-yard line. The senior running back, some nice involvement early on here in Orlando. Split tight ends, both off the line of scrimmage. A receiver on each side of the formation. 3-4 front from Stanford. Looks like it is an over front. Barnes gonna get it out to the backup tight end, Bentley. Can't quite get it in, but will get it down to the 1-yard line, and that is a 1st down. This Seawolf offense looking prolific early on. Number of guys involved, attacking a number of parts of the field, using different tempos. Really, really nice game plan to come out here for the gentlemen in the powder blue. Power I formation, 2 fullbacks and a running back in the backfield with a pair of tight ends. This time the extra tackle, Griffin Huff on the left. Great penetration from Stanford. They're going to get Tyson in the backfield, and that is going to bring up a 2nd down and goal from the 2-yard line. Improvement from 4 wins to 9 wins this season from Sonoma State, 2 wins to 5 wins in conference. Last 2 seasons under head coach Calvin Zeljak have put together a 13 and, oh goodness, let me do math, an 11 record coming into this one. McLawler, the tight end, motions over. Look to get a screen out quick. Not available, so Barnes gets out and throws it away. Can't make any magic happen out of the pocket this time. Was able to do so on the first drive, cashing it into the end zone on a throw to Keontae Tyson. No cigar, or no dice, whatever you prefer this time. 3rd and goal from the 2-yard line. 4 receivers to the right-hand side. Barnes looks to the sideline. Gonna change plays. Quick out right to Milan. Touchdown, Noma. In the end zone again, 2 drives, 2 times, finding Pater. And that is number 2, Tanner Milam, cashing in the 2nd touchdown of the game for the squad. And the fellas are fired up in this opening quarter. Plenty of offense early and lots to be happy about in what is either the beginning of a new year in the game or the end of the current year. Not sure which side of the calendar this game falls on. But plenty to be celebrating, holiday season, and touchdowns from the Sonoma State Seawolves. That's always something to celebrate as well. 2 throwing scores for Teron Barnes in this opening frame of the ballgame. 9 completions, 11 attempts, 94 yards. Elijah Brown, just the 1 turn with the ball, but 2 of 4 for 37 yards. Matthew York sends the extra point up and in. It is a 14-3 lead with 2:07 to go here in this opening quarter. If you need more Seawolf football, head to the link in the description to this video, and you can get game previews sent right to your inbox when games drop. They are AI generated, but I ask them to do very realistic and specific styles, and I really like how they have come out. So check those out if you want some more content from Rabbit Hole Sports and Media. But the Stanford offense getting set to go here for their 2nd turn with the football. After a touchback, you see a little peek at the college football playoff bracket there. North Texas winning the Mountain West. 4th highest ranked conference champion. Due to a little bit of a glitch, they still would have automatically made the playoff. Just wouldn't have gotten a bye. 1st down carry on 1st down. That is Cedric Irvin, 2 carries, 13 yards for number 26. Junior running back playing a game in his home state. Maybe some family in the crowd watching him as Stanford looks for a little revenge from earlier in the season. Like I said, very thrilling matchup. Went into triple overtime, a 2-point victory for Sonoma State. Linebacker shift late, and that is going to be Noah Forsyth getting off the edge and getting a tackle for loss. And this time it is Cole Tabb on the carry. Going to set up a 2nd down and 11. Nick Forsyth. Yikes. Should really know my own players' names. I promise I do. Slip of the tongue. 2nd down and 11. Going to exchange some roles here. Brown drops back, looks for a screen. Plenty of room for Cole Tabb. He is going to get near a first down, 3rd down and 1 from the 45-yard line. Great job throwing a screen right into the blitz, taking advantage of the alteration we did to our scheme. And it set Stanford up with a very manageable 3rd down. And we'll see how much they lean into the run game versus throw it. Because last time we played them, they were very run heavy, if I'm remembering right, early, and then really opened it up and threw the ball a lot as the game went on. Quick underneath from Brown, broken up. Nico Solomon on the spot, and that is going to bring out the Stanford punt unit for the first time today as we get a defensive stop from one of these teams for the first time. Number 37 sending it away. DeMarvin Holland back deep, waiting for it. Not going to get a chance to take this one back. Very short punt, out of bounds at the 36-yard line. Just 43 seconds remaining in this opening quarter. Tight end and 2 receivers to the right, ball on the right hash. Pistol formation, Tyson the back. CJ Peaks on the left-hand side, going to go to the counter. Tyson looks for room, not much there, only a pickup of 2. Some good adjustments on the run stopping front from Stanford after a couple of chunk runs from us to start the game, especially from Keontae Tyson. Last couple bottled up, 1 for the loss. That one just for a gain of 2. Shifting from the offense. Bunch formation now on the right-hand side. Ball in the middle of the field. McLawler, the tight end, on the left. Quick out. CJ Peaks, first down, Noma. This offense continuing to march. Already over 100 yards in the game for Barnes as we have just a single second remaining on the clock here, which will run off as soon as I choose the play. I don't know why they can't just wind the clock and end the quarter, but whatever. 1 quarter down. Seawolves 14, Cardinal 3, 60 yards of offense for Stanford, 174 for Sonoma State. Very exciting first quarter for the Blue Faithful. The Seawolf pack, the school pack, I don't know. What do you call Seawolves, right? It's not land wolves, so is it really a pack? You're in the sea, so is it a school? I don't know. We got bigger issues on our plate here, like the play clock. Getting it off just in time. Quick out to Tyson. And that is Colin Wright in the slot. Very dynamic playmaker. Great play recognition. Eats it up. Loss of a couple. And that'll bring up a 2nd down and 12. We're at the 50-yard line. Now have regressed back into our own territory as we come out here. On the ground, Tyson. He's got some room. He's going to pick up 6. And that is going to set up a 3rd down opportunity. Now into Stanford territory as we are underway in this second quarter. Mentioned it in the last broadcast, but a number of starters for this Sonoma State team playing their final game here today. Keontae Tyson, of course, one of them. Kalen Franklin at left tackle. DeMarcus Perkins at left guard. A few of the guys. Scott McLawler as well. Spencer Strickland. Not on the field here. Blitz comes, pressure getting home unchecked, forces a quick throw, and if we could have anticipated a little better, actually Strickland wasn't in the game, he was in the backfield. Tyson not in the game, could have gotten it to Spencer Strickland, he would have had an easy first down, uncovered. Instead went for the quick throw to CJ Peaks, still had a chance to make a catch, wouldn't have gotten the first down, but hit, not able to hang on. Punt down inside the 10. York sends it away. Roderick downs it. That has been a lethal special teams combination for SSU. And the Cardinal offense ready to go again. Good amount of 3 tight end looks from Stanford early. Saw it on their first play of the game. Going to see it again. Running room this time. 8 yards up the middle. Once again, Cedric Irvin, 3 carries for 21 yards. Looks like they're going to stick with that 3 tight end personnel. Maybe trying to establish this run game a little more. We have played the pass well in the early part of this game, which has been a welcomed change. Shift into a throw. Brown throws underneath. That is going to be complete. Ball on the ground. And Stanford is going to get on it to retain possession. Almost a costly turnover, but instead it is a 20-plus yard gain for the Stanford offense, and they will stay in their 3 tight end formation as they continue to, well, what are they trying to continue to do? Continue the offensive drive, I guess. I really need to have someone else that broadcasts with me so I don't have to eat up all the airtime. Holy moly. First down run, nothing doing. 2nd and 10 from the 34-yard line. Getting ourselves set here. Breaking away from that 3 tight end look. Going to go 3 receivers, 1 tight end and 1 running back. Movement from the front from Sonoma State. All day for Brown. He's looking deep down the field. Noah Collins breaks it up, looking for the home run hitter. What an absolute cannon. That's like 70-something yards in the air almost. See, they're at the 34-yard line, 66 yards to the goal line. That's about where it was. Plus he dropped back. It's like a 75-yard throw. That's insane. Absolute bomb from Elijah Brown. Did not realize he was Josh Allen. 3rd and 10 for the Cardinal. Brown in the pocket, plenty of time again, but this one is going to be thrown away. And for the 2nd straight possession, it is a punt. See Jaquez Blanks drop off, have our spot drop and lock mechanism working, able to user function correctly. Really nice seeing that all play out together and the way it is supposed to. Sending it away again. Holland back. Fair catch this time, so gets a chance to actually catch the ball. Not a chance to return it, and the Sonoma State offense will take the field once again. Once again, that Maryland formation. 3 running backs in a row. The Ducks in the row in the backfield. 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line. Getting the unit set. Snap away just in time. Barnes looking. Gets out of the pocket. Once again, cross-body, making maybe a little too much of a habit of that, but it is Jackson Gregory, the fullback, for a nice gain, and it is a Noma Nation. First down, the Seawolves marching. Offense stalled out for the first time. Last possession, looking to get their feet back under them here and build a very, very nice first half lead. See the replay here again? They're wide open. You know, I'll say that. I'm not trying to knock the very successful play more than the fact that it's not really how you teach guys to play the position, you know. 1st and 10. I don't know, if you're a quarterback coach and have a different take on that, let me know. From the 41-yard line, Gregory, the fullback in the backfield, Tyson directly behind Barnes, McLawler on the right as well with Javon Moore out wide. Peeks out wide on the left, dropping back to throw. Looking underneath for the check down as pressure was getting home. Cannot get hung onto. Going to see it here again. Miguel Weeks, I talked about how he had his struggles in pass protection. You see it there. I can't even tell if he was trying to cut or if he just got thrown on the ground. But nevertheless, a quick pressure forces a quick throw. And we were expecting that coming into this game, that this defensive line would be able to get pressure quickly. And we were going to have a good mix of run game, screens, play action, and quick game answers, and some extra protection when we take some shots down the field. Win on the ground there with Spencer Strickland. He's going to pick up 3. That is going to bring it to a 3rd down and 7 at the 43-yard line. Colin Wright in the slot on the right-hand side. He's got that star and the little flame over him right now. Once again, getting everyone set in the correct route that we want. Barnes, quick throw, Strickland in the middle of the field. That is a first down into Stanford territory to the 40-yard line, and quick to the line is the offense. Quick to the line, slow with the play as Barnes looks to the sideline and changes things. Strickland shifts into the backfield. Melam moves a little closer to the line of scrimmage. On the ground, Tyson going to pick up a few, and that is going to bring it to a 2nd and 7 from the Stanford 37-yard line. Barnes and company to the line, bunch into the boundary on the right side. Have a ton of formations I run in this playbook. I guess it's available on the share. I don't really know. Do you have to manually upload things to the share? I'm such a EA Sports noob and Madden noob, I guess you would say, to a degree. If you couldn't tell. A little bit. But here we go. 3rd down and 3. Barnes takes it up the middle. I love football. I'm so bad at video games. I cannot emphasize that enough. 3rd and 3. Trips to the right. It's going to be, looks like Young Jr. motioning across. Probably going to put him on a different route. On a curl. Got that inside leverage from Colin Wright on the left there for the out. However, it gets wide open, and I only see it on the secondary window. Maybe on the replay we'll get a little clarity as to what went on there. Looks like we will not show one. I always get scared that that outside corner is going to sit and cloud on top, or to the outside, you know what I mean? If you know football, you know what I mean by a cloud corner. He's sitting, waiting for that slot receiver to break out, and my guess is that is what I initially saw. Whether that was correct or not, I cannot really confirm. Did not seem like it. Play action on 1st and 10. Barnes going to throw in the middle. That is Strickland, hammered at the 1-yard line. But we are knocking on the door again. Noma Nation, the Noma Pack, Noma Wolves. I don't know. I'm trying to come up with other nicknames, and nothing all that good comes to mind. But we're working out the kinks here. Stanford's going to pinch the D tackles over our center, Tariq Williams. Going to come out and show the option on this play here. Going to check. A little fullback trap. Let's see if we can get the senior Jackson Gregory, the fullback, right up the middle in the end zone. He's had a great couple years blocking for us, and he is going to take it in, involved as a weapon in the offense today. A couple of catches, a touchdown run, and a gritty on the stat line. Noma Nation in the end zone again. That is 20 points on the scoreboard already. An extra point will make it 21. The fans are jumping around if they're wearing blue, and they are sitting down if they are wearing red, and that is what we like to see. Happy holidays to everyone in the game. Touchdown, Sonoma State, Gear Bowl, Orlando, trying to put an exclamation point on what has been a great year for the Seawolves. 4 wins to 10 wins, chance to finish ranked. Can next year be the season we take a leap forward and maybe compete for a conference championship? Of course, the big first hurdle we really got to get over is the UCSB Gauchos. They have been a huge thorn in our side these 2 seasons. Really, just dominated us both times we played them. I will say this year, even though the score, I guess the final score this year was technically closer than the previous season. However, I don't know what I'm trying to say. It was 45-14, 41-10. I don't know. The games kind of went very similarly in that by the end of the 3rd quarter, they were done, and then we tacked on some points at the end of the game to make the scoreboard look a little more respectable. But this year, it was really, one turnover that really opened things up. And then as soon as we started having to throw, this team is not built to just drop back and sling it. We've had great success in the passing game, but if you look at the yards per completion averages around the country, we are not super high in that regard. And so a lot of our success, I would argue at least, if you have a different argument, please let me know. I'd love to hear it, because I'm always looking to improve, tweak things in the settings if we need to. I don't want us to be successful because the difficulty is easy. Of course, there is a little bit of a mesh between, I don't even know what I'm trying to say. In essence, in this game, there is, when you raise the difficulty as going to the right side, looks like Cedric Irvin, but as you raise the difficulty on this game, freshman, varsity, All-American, Heisman, it increases, at least in what I can kind of gauge, both the kind of football logic from the CPU and like how well the players can play. So like on Heisman a lot more, you'll get, some lower rated players on the CPU doing some things that are a little beyond their capabilities, because it's supposed to represent someone usering that person and being very good at usering in the game. And so I'm not great at usering, so that's why I have it on varsity difficulty, because I don't need the ridiculous animations from, 70, 65 overall players, because I'm not good at making them look much better than they really are. But I need to get, certain things more difficult, if that makes sense. So I try to use the sliders to help create that. So again, I talked about it, I believe, starting in the Texas State game, how I adjusted the coverage slider, starting in the Wyoming game, just trying to get a more realistic feel on where we're at. I think next season, maybe we can take it back down to 47. Again, we were at 38, and I'm back to 50-50 on varsity, and coverage is the one thing where I'm like, well, that probably has to be a little close to normal, because again, the game's also designed to be played in 5 minutes and have the same amount of scoring. We're playing 11, so we don't need so many, momentum swinging plays, I suppose you would say. It's a big emphasis on touchdowns, interceptions, sacks, all those really exciting plays, because they want to get those kind of things in the game at a normal rate, but within 5 minutes. So you need to adjust the difficulty to account for that, so to speak. So that's what I'm trying to do with the difficulty, but I also do want to emphasize it is certainly tied to the fact that I am just really not great at usering players, and as I get better at that, we will probably settle on a difficulty and slider adjustment more around the All-American mark. Now, I believe what we're playing on now is probably around the same difficulty as All-American. Nico Solomon, nice play. I have not commentated a single play of the game here, but you'll see it here. Play a lot of zone, get into a one robber here. They try to hit the crosser. I almost overplay it, get back on it just in time, get an animation to trigger, so I'm getting better. I'm getting a little better. But as I was saying, again, don't take ChatGPT by any means as a whole source of truth. That is only God. Amen. All glory to Jesus. But I typed into ChatGPT the settings I had and asked them to compare it to the All-American and Heisman difficulties, and it said it was between All-American and Heisman, which is really what I'm going for. So again, if you want to try out these sliders, I will try to... I need to find some way to share all this information. That's part of the reason I'm doing these full game broadcasts, is I want to have outlets where I can share more of the nitty-gritty details that I am trying to do to really get us as realistic of a feel as possible as to what it would take and what kind of team you would need to build as this caliber of school in order to compete and win a national championship in FBS. However, in the short form videos I'm trying to do that are more of for a general audience, because I do want people, who went to Sonoma State but maybe aren't huge football fans to be able to enjoy the videos and just kind of get more surface level football and enjoy more of the basic premise of what we're doing. But then for anyone that really is into what we're doing in terms of trying to figure out what it would take for one of these programs to win a national championship, I want ways to make those things known and have people be able to follow along. And one of the ways I'm doing that as well, in addition to these full games, is the pre-game announcement newsletters. I have some other blogs essentially I'm doing with those where I will go into more detail on things. So if you're interested, you can sign up for those. It would be awesome to see people start to roll in more and have a bigger following. We have a decent group right now, but I would love for that group to get a little bit bigger as we move on here, because this is what really interests me about sports, is because we can take this onto a greater scale and tie it to real life. And that's why I think sports do have great value in this world. I think they can be certainly a distraction, and the way we portray them sometimes as a culture is, not the best, and we focus on the wrong things. But the beauty about sports, and the initial reason I believe we as a society fell in love with them, is because you come across a lot of the same issues that you face in real life, but like in real life, you discover your strengths and you discover how to work together with others in order to succeed and overcome those challenges. And I think in general, in the world really, we need to start doing that a lot more. So this is my way of helping us think along those lines, because there are so many people in this world much more brilliant than I am that are going to be so huge for us as a society moving forward and, creating a better world for all of us. and, you know, a world that has more love in it, right? And I believe that starts through God and believing and seeing the way He has created us and wants us to live. And this is my way of helping everyone see that and see the good in God. So, anyway, back to the game. Going to try a super long field goal with the senior Matthew York. 4 seconds to go here in the first half. York has 99 kick power. Now, I did not lower the kick trajectory at all, and it lands mid-end zone, so they have to be nerfing the punters a little bit, right? But Suachu, not letting them get outside. We are not getting kick-sixed. We are not Alabama in 2013. Terrible field goal, but great coverage on the kick to avoid a score, and the Seawolves will take it into the half with a 2-score lead. 21-6, fantastic first half, moved the ball really well on offense. Defense did sensational as well. Again, we'll have to continue to evaluate the passing game of Stanford. The more I get to watch this, you know, going over commentating it, cutting back on cutting down highlights later, gives me a better idea of what's really going on in coverage. Are the receivers that should be getting open in the situations they should be getting open actually getting open? Are our DBs, you know, covering guys in scenarios way too often where it's not likely guys would get open? Again, I corrected back because it felt like we weren't getting a full resemblance of how good our defensive backs were prior, so adjusted back, trying to reset. It certainly, based off the Wyoming game, I would say we don't need to change anything at all. They threw for 371. But that does tie back to one of my other theories about football, that a great passing game ties back more to a quarterback that can make a lot of throws and see the field well, almost more than weapons. Because you really watch teams, even ones who are at a disadvantage in the talent department, when they try to throw the ball, the problem more often than not is not the ability to get receivers open, especially when you talk about teams playing zone and just the number of things you can do formationally to attack man. It's really the ability to get guys open quickly, or another way to put it is get guys open before pressure gets to the quarterback. And then B, most of the time, if you're a talent deficient team, that means your quarterback isn't as good, and he's probably not seeing the field as well as he should. So again, guys should be getting open. Again, if a high school team or something, or even like an FCS team probably was playing, you know, Georgia or something, are a lot of guys going to be creating separation? No, probably not. Even if we were playing a Georgia or an Alabama right now, would we be creating a lot of separation? No, probably not. It would be a real grind to throw the ball, and I think it would play out that way based on the sliders we've had. Like this year, there has not been any moment where I've just been like, yeah, we could just drop back and throw it. It's had to be very calculated and built off of certain things in the run game, whether that's the option with Barnes, incorporating bootlegs, getting them to have to contain the quarterback more. Like, I'm telling you, there's a lot we're doing to open up our passing game, and it's not something that we can just go into a game and know, okay, we're going to get guys open no matter what. So maybe counterintuitive to what I said, so what I'm trying to emphasize is there is a balance of the success of a passing game is a lot deeper than simply, are you getting receivers open? It's, are you seeing the receivers that get open? Do you have enough time for your quarterback to throw to get those receivers open, etc.? So trying to emphasize those points, kind of the finer details of football. And the things that I think make it really, really fun is that there's not just like these linear, specific answers to things. Yes, you can work in like general truths and you can simplify and generalize things to solve problems, but there's not like this total one complete answer in every single situation that works, besides the Lord. I'll always tell you that. It always ties back to Him. But in terms of specific football terminology, there's not, you know, one specific play that every single time is going to help you stop a vertical passing game. What kind of vertical passing game is it? What kind of personnel is it? What kind of personnel are you trying to defend it with? Do you have good pass rushers on the field, right? Like, I was having a conversation yesterday with my roommates about how one of the things with blitzing in football is, I think as fans, at least one of the things I fell into earlier on, when I was watching football, like even into my younger 20s, is you kind of think of blitzing and it's just you're saying, oh, we can guard the other team one-on-one, and like a big part of it is you're saying, no, because the point of cover zero, right, it's called cover zero because you have no safety help, so you have one man on each receiver. So then they have a quarterback and 5 linemen, and we now have 6 guys left. So 5 linemen for 5 of the blockers. We have 1 unblocked guy in cover zero. If you watch football regularly, you probably know that, and I'm sorry if I'm boring you to death. But anyway, the point of it is that you got a free rusher, and you believe you can force the quarterback to throw the ball before their receivers can get to the point that they need to get get the yardage that they need. Right? So like a 4th and long, the point of blitzing is, yeah, maybe we don't have shutdown corners, but we have enough faith that we can guard guys long enough for our free rusher to get there, and then we can make a tackle once the receiver makes the catch. Right? So it's kind of deeper than just, oh, we want to guard their receivers one-on-one with no safety help, right? There's deeper layers, deeper thought to it. But anyway, 21-9, 3 field goals for Stanford. Last 7 scores, our defense has surrendered. All field goals, no touchdowns against this defense. Is it the pass coverage adjustment, or are we actually getting good on defense? I don't know. I'll continue to evaluate, let you guys know. Definitely want to get it right as we get into next season. Should be a fun one. We'll see who leaves in the transfer portal. I probably will force a couple of leaves in the transfer portal, just FYI, to create a little more realism. It's one of those things where not as many guys in this game leave in the transfer portal as real life. And on one hand, I like that because, holy moly, if we had 35 dudes entering the transfer portal, that'd be such a pain, especially if you followed along with our recruiting. We have like 2 guys committed to our team right now. So we'd be done in. We wouldn't have a program next year. But at the same time, I do want a little more than it has now, where it seems like you can kind of easily have seasons where you only have 1 or 2 guys leave, and it's like, I don't really know. Because that's one of the additional challenges, because tying back to my point that we're trying to create the realistic challenges that a program of this caliber would face, and one of them you have in this NIL and transfer portal era is that now if you find a stud that other teams didn't recruit, he can just leave the next season as soon as he gets good. He can just dip. Right now, obviously not everyone does that, and it's awesome, and you're going to need guys who are willing to stay and have deeper ties to the program than just, catching on somewhere else. So that's something else I'm trying to do with recruiting that I'll try not to get too lost in right now. You see why this is called Rabbit Hole Sports. We're talking about like 9 different things at the same time. But anyway, that's one of the challenges of being a program of this level is before, if you got a guy that no one recruited and he was a stud, it was like, great, we have this NFL level guy that no one noticed, that we noticed for the next, couple of seasons. And we can see if we can really do something with it. And that can draw in maybe more guys who are a little beyond the caliber we would typically be able to recruit. And we can maybe overachieve and really get the ball rolling. Where now you get a guy like that and off-season hits, boom, he's playing for Alabama or Texas. And I don't mean to throw those programs under the bus. They just are the ones that draw the most top-tier talent. And there's nothing wrong with using the system that is in place to create as good of a team as possible. I'm just saying that to emphasize that there is a clear kind of discrepancy and tierness to the programs where they're the ones that just draw great players no matter what. And again, I want to emphasize it's earned. These programs have been successful. Yes, a lot of it has to do with money, but a lot of them make a lot of money because they've been really successful, right? So it's that ultimate balance of, well, how do we make sure we are holding true to what makes college football great, but at the same time not penalizing the teams that are successful, if that makes sense. But Barnes takes off here on a scramble. I've probably commentated about 4 plays in the past, 20-ish minutes or so. But anyway, that was kind of the point of the full games. I do want to talk about the game that is actually going on, but if it leads me on a tangent, the point of having the full game structure is it gives me the room to really talk about it. and then come back, as opposed to the short videos where I'm kind of trying to stay on specific points and just get specific things out to you guys information-wise. But 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line. Nomination offense marching once again. Play clock down to 1. Quite the usual. Tried to put it behind. Neelam is supposed to stop. One of the things that always gets me in trouble in this game is you're running a route where you stop moving, right? You aren't crossing the field. You're going to a point and you're stopping, right? And I get that, yes, there is like a defined, like, ideal place to run that route to. But this has been something that has been in actual football for years, where against zone coverage, you're going to see where the guy is not, and you're going to settle there, right? It's not like specific, oh, you go here. It's you go where the defense isn't, right? Because that's the entire point of offense. Get the ball where the defense isn't, or get the ball, like the run game a little more, get the ball where the defense isn't good, right? Where they're not strong, where they can't get off blocks, where they struggle to tackle, right? Again, where they don't have as many guys is still part of it too in the run game, of course. But like that's the whole gist of offense. And this game's just like, nah, even if the route calls for him to go like right behind the guy that's in coverage by default, he's still going to do that. And it's just like, oh my goodness. Like, it doesn't make anything easier. Because my mind assumes he's going to make that adjustment, and I don't know if everyone else has that problem. Maybe that's just because I'm thinking in the wrong mindset. And another reason I talked about the settings, there's a difference between the mentality you need to attack a game of football and the mentality you need to attack this game, I guess you would say. Again, a lot of parallels, very similar. I'm not saying, oh, they've created a whole different sport here, but there are very subtle and little things that don't operate quite the same that really do force you to kind of alter your mindset in some very small ways. But 1st and goal here from the 4. Barnes out quick, Strickland out wide, and he is in the end zone. Noma Nation. 1-2, gives him a Heisman pose. TB5 to number 12. Strickland will be out the door this offseason, but it has been so much fun to utilize him. He is playing our primary slot back role. Again, a normal position in more option-oriented offense, lines up where the tight end normally would be, but is more of a fullback, running back kind of hybrid, running back receiverish hybrid, depending on, what you're doing. I'm no guru on the option, so if you have a better way to describe a slot back in the traditional option offenses, please enlighten us in the comments. I really, really love learning from people who are actually in the game and real experts, because I'm not. I love learning about it on my own, but most of the knowledge I have schematically. Granted, I played the game into high school, but I was not an X's and O's in the film room junkie, as you would say, by any means. Back when I was playing, most of my interest in the X's and O's side of things came from when I stopped playing and started just watching more casually as a fan. And I can't even really tell you why specifically that happened, but that's how it all worked out. So I emphasize that point, or bring that up, just to say that when I'm talking about things, I'm trying to articulate them in a way that I think will make sense to both people who have a general knowledge of football and maybe don't. So there's certainly times where I'm probably not doing proper justice in describing certain things, or maybe not describing things in quite the best way. Again, I really feel like I'm getting the overall spirit of the things I'm talking about, because otherwise I would get too nervous to even bring them up. But anyway, back to the slot back roll, and Spencer Strickland as Cole Tabb gets to the outside. He's had a fairly productive game here today, about 40 yards on the ground. I believe he has about 60 yards receiving, so close to 100 yards total. He has been the most productive player on their offense. That's kind of what we want to force other teams to have, is really kind of have almost a slot back like guy on their offense that can really kind of create some natural conflict just from default personnel. Stumbling all over my words. See the numbers from Brown there, 10 of 18, 132 yards. But back to our use of the slot back, really more of a receiving back, slot receiver hybrid, but again, slot receiver, running back, slot back. So in essence used in a very similar way to an option slot back, in that he's a back we're using to kind of get wide and get onto the perimeter and kind of stretch the defense and create conflict with those outside linebackers and slot defenders. Just we don't align in your classic wing T flex bone. We align a little bit of wishbone, but we're certainly not a option-oriented offense by any means. So kind of redefining the position to a degree. Again, operating very, very similar in sort of the conceptual way that we are utilizing him, just not in the traditional style of offense you would see that slot back position. But it's been a lot of fun using Spencer Strickland. I honestly thought it was going to be kind of more of a position for show, if that makes sense. Like, we would utilize it, but I wasn't sure how easy it would be to be productive with it in this game. And ended up having a fantastic year with him. I believe after this game, he has over 500 yards receiving and close to 450 yards rushing, which just outstanding. Almost 1,000 total yards over the 13-game season. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. It was a lot of fun, really cool, and this is why I like doing this style. It's cool to kind of think in maybe not a totally realistic, but what I would say is like a simulated realistic sort of way of thinking about football, and seeing some innovative sort of utilization of things take root. And again, by innovative, depends on what you mean, because this is not revolutionary by any stretch. If you're talking about the Rams and how Sean McVay uses his receivers, very similar. Likes to bring them tight, close to the offensive line, have them help in the run game, uses them a lot in jet sweeps, so they're really guys that can stretch the defense wide. They can they can execute crack blocks, help tosses get to the outside. So again, you see this sort of thing throughout football in various ways, and that's kind of the cool thing about football, is the more you study it and kind of see where these different schemes are thinking and where their differences are, you can also kind of see where the similarities in thought process exist as well, is the way I would put that. But a 3rd and 4 here. I believe we forced a punt. I'm kind of zoning out. Not on what I'm talking about, but on the game in general, that's for sure. McLawler outside, big time. One big catch for Scotty Mack earlier in the game, I believe. He is a first-team All-American, first-team All-Conference selection, second-time first-team All-Conference selection for Scotty Mack. Not the hardest to get tight ends to be highly recognized in this game. Next year, I really hope you see more teams that are really strong and built around the running game. It's gotten much better from when the game first came out. I remember I did basically a test dynasty with Sonoma State when the game first came out that I originally was going to do this series with, but by the time I got ready to actually YouTube, I had played 5 seasons with them, and I was like, well, it's kind of stupid to start in season 6, and we had won a national championship in the 5th season. So that's when I also realized that it's probably going to take more than 5 years, so it helped me kind of find some other challenging and ways I kind of wanted to make things a little more difficult, but also kind of gave me the insight on some ways that I would go quicker. So I guess we're kind of up against that 5-year mark, not in that we're viewing that as a pass-fail, but to some degree, kind of racing against the test dynasty I did to see if we can do it quicker. We shouldn't be able to, but, I don't know, maybe it's some pride in me that I still need to let the Lord kill out, that's for sure. But yeah, part of me is like, we want to do it by the 5th season, and we shouldn't be able to. You should not be able to, from at least where we started with at Sonoma State. Try to keep it on the game here as we get down the home stretch, get closer to the 4th quarter. 3rd down and 7 coming up. 30 seconds left in this 3rd quarter. 28-9, Sonoma State. You see the rushing yards for Keontae Tyson there. 55 on the ground and a touchdown below his average. Tyson started the year in a LaDainian Tomlinson 2006 season sort of way. In the end zone all the time. Really cooled off down the stretch. Did get him a receiving touchdown in this game. I believe in one of our other previous games towards the end of the year we did that as well. But around 8 games through the year, I looked at the number of rushing and passing touchdowns we had, and I was like, wow, that's insane. We have way more rushing touchdowns than passing touchdowns. And I'm not aware of any conscious effort I made to correct the issue, more than we just started finding good looks to throw against in the red zone and down near the goal line. And at one point, we had 10 or 11 straight touchdown throws. Tyson to the outside, can't quite break it loose, but on a 3rd and 12, we get some helpful animations, and we get a first down. Very nice. I don't know what he's doing right there. That's not good form-fit tackling for all you youngsters out there. That's not how you do it. All right, break down, keep your feet active. All right, that guy looked like he had his ankles in concrete there. And Tyson breaks it to the outside on a 3rd and 12. Yeah, I don't know. I would need to talk to him to get a better explanation. Probably going to be a tough day in the film room for him when the Cardinal get back. I'd assume college teams look at their bowl film and make corrections at some point. I'm very curious, if you're a senior in the bowl game, at any point do you get corrected on your film from that bowl game, or do you never know? I would think you just would never know, because that's kind of it. Or do they call you in? Do you have a film study after the bowl game when you're a senior? I'm not sure. Anyway, play action wheel. Tyson can't put it on the money, couldn't adjust back for it. Lucky it wasn't an interception, but had to take a shot on that wheel play. I had never actually even thrown it to the wheel when we had ran that all year. Also left our backup left tackle, Griffin Huff, on a cross that time. Normally, since I have him in on that formation, I leave him in and do some sort of audible with our fullbacks or other tight end. But that time, decided to leave him on a cross. Why not? Would have been fun to see the backup left tackle get a big throw across the middle. I believe he ended up double-teamed. Brilliant game planning from Stanford. 2nd and 10. Barnes gets it out wide. This is Strickland. He's going to pick up 8 yards, and he's going to take it to the 25-yard line. 7 catches for 61 yards for Spencer Strickland. Number 12. I don't know if we can throw his initials in front of the number as a nickname. That might get a little controversial. For reasons I will let you piece together on your own. Out quick on a little arrow screen, flat screen. Tanner Melam, first down. He is a junior slot receiver. Hopefully we'll have him back. He's one of our guys at risk for transfer. Anyone who intends to transfer, so anyone who, when I go to the player's leaving screen, says they are transferring, even though you do get some persuasions at that stage, I will not be using any. We may not even get any. I don't know. We may not be a high enough prestige of a program to get any persuasions. I'm not totally sure. But regardless, we'll not be using them. Down to 4 on the play clock. Why not make another change? Get it out to Strickland on a sweep. Around the corner. Spencer. Should have made a move. Should have cut back out. I still need to get a little better at just showing, just moving the hips. Just move them a little bit. Like butter. Make it smooth. Smooth little move inside. Hard back out. Leave them in the dust. I can't do that in real life, can't do it in the game. Anyway, live out your dreams in other ways. Keep it on the ground with Keontae Tyson. He picks up 2 yards. He's to 75 yards now. Maybe we will hit the century mark with Tyson. Would be nice to send him out that way in his final game after what was a fantastic season. First team all-conference performer. 2nd player all-time in our program to accomplish that. Very, very cool. Still celebrating the little feats at this point in our build-up here. 3rd and inches. We're going to empty out the backfield. Don't see much. Barnes takes off. Touchdown. Well, I mean, don't slide too early, Sonoma Nation. Number 5, pointing to the crowd. It has been a fantastic day out here in Orlando for the Seawolves. Everyone fired up in our second kind of powder blue, not kind of powder blue, but our second powder blue combination, I guess you could kind of say, is what I was trying to get at. Same powder blue jerseys from our senior day game a week ago. Different white helmet, and then wearing our white pants with the same white socks and all White shoes. Really like the look of the powder blue. The initial version of the team I did, I just felt like the powder blue came out too light. And so when I redid the team, I was like, yeah, I'm not going to use powder blue as the main theme. I'll do it more as a secondary one. And then whenever we wear it, if it's, too light, I can put teams in a dark color like we're doing with Stanford here. Didn't do that last week with Texas State. Put their pants on maroon. But when I redid the team and kind of corrected the color, I feel like it came out much better where it doesn't blend in with white too badly. But again, for the bowl game, thought it was a cool look to throw Stanford in the black and red. Had them in more of their classic look when we played them the first time. So why not change it up, give them a different look? I'm still indifferent on them matching us up with a team we played in the regular season for our bowl game. I think that's interesting. I know Colorado and BYU played each other in the Alamo Bowl this past season as Noah Forsyth gets his sack, his team leading 5th. Another guy who should be back in the mix next season. Don't have, well, as you know, with me saying that Noah Forsyth, or Nick Forsyth, that's the second time I've done that. I'm terrible. Oh my goodness. Bad coach, doesn't know his own players' first names. Not a good sign for our future. So we're going to work on that. But anyway, Nick Forsyth leads the team in sacks with 5, which is not a lot for the end of the season. But we have an insane number of guys who have gotten sacks this season, if that makes sense. Throw out there. It had to have been one of the backs. It was a wheel, right? Cannot tell who. Maybe a little too far away. I'm watching it on my laptop as I commentate. And I'm sitting a little far away. Get a little closer, and the replay is done by the time I do that. 3rd down and 7. Get ourselves set up here. Throw over the middle. That is caught. Room to work. All the way down near the 30-yard line. Again, cannot quite tell who it is. I really got to start having my laptop, like, literally in front of my face. Like, I'm looking at it. Number 81. It's not Elick Manor. I apologize. I did not do as much of a deep dive on the Stanford team because there was definitely a portion of time where I was not mad, but just unenthused about playing a team a second time. Again, I got myself motivated by realizing there's kind of some secondary things to play for. So, like firm 2nd place in our division, 3rd place in the conference overall, I guess you would say, as well. And in theory, whoever wins this game will end the season ranked. We are number 25 in the playoff poll. I believe I already mentioned this. Stanford is number 25 in both the coaches and media poll. So, if we win, I believe the final standing is by your college football playoff position. I'm not totally sure. But as you can see, they put the number next to us. So that's what they're going by on the scoreboard. However, over our name in the main menu, we did not have a number next to us, like on the play game screen. Jet sweep around the edge. Manor going to break off a hit. He's got it inside the 5-yard line. He's got 3 catches, or that's his average, 3 catches for 66 yards. We have held him to 3 catches for 34 yards. Elick Manor just drafted into the NFL in real life. Congratulations for him. So he will not actually be a member of Stanford for the 2025 season, unfortunately. But was awesome to get to play him twice in this season, in this dynasty. But anyway, I forget who he got drafted by, but best of luck to him in the NFL. Another jet sweep here. That is number 81 again. A little revenge for me not remembering his name. Amari Borden. I will not forget it now. The freshman from Georgia. 3 catches, 59 yards, and a touchdown now added to the tally. And Stanford breaks the streak of touchdownless scores we'd given up. Again, 7 straight scores against us had been field goals. Finally in the end zone is Stanford. Maybe a little bit too late. 6 minutes to go. We get a little cute on the extra point and jump off sides because we always have to be a little extra here at Sonoma State. Got to make it fun. Got to give the viewers some reason to tune in when you were a 4-8 team the year before. But maybe next year, finishing in the top 25 this season, will give us some natural viewership. Maybe some more national televised games. Maybe even a game of the week at one point. Who knows? Let's not get ahead of ourselves. LJ Young recovers the onside. He's going to take it to the outside. He's got a little bit of room. and he's going to take it into Stanford territory. Well, I guess he picked it up in Stanford territory. Maybe not. Got through the front line. Anyway, to the 36-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Seawolf offense. They will come back out at this point. Feels like a little bit more of a formality. Not completely over, but in scoring range already. Well, maybe not. Matthew York apparently is only sending it to the middle of the end zone from 55. That would not mean 53 would go too well. Tyson in the backfield, swallowed up. David Bailey there, his second tackle for loss. I talked about it in the first game we had versus Stanford, where we still want to have a mix of running at David Bailey. Run stopping is not his best trait. It's really his ability to rush the passer. Not that he's a bad run defender. I went over this in the other video as well. Just his primary strength is pass rushing, more manageable in the run stopping department. But as you can see, he obviously still has freakish athletic traits in terms of his speed, agility, acceleration, and that can still lead to some negative plays, which he has done a couple times today. Had A there. Someone was in the way where I didn't see him at first, and then by the time I got out, I had committed to it. Get a first down with Barnes. Looks a little selfish, I would certainly say. I promise that was not the intent, but we are inside 5 minutes, and we are inside the red zone. Yet again, trying to get at least one more score before this season ends. Perhaps one more touchdown for a senior. Be a nice way to end things. Set ourselves up with a halfback slip screen here. Goes to Tyson. This time it's Colin Wright in the backfield. So the two stars of this Stanford defense making an impact and making tackles for loss. Of course, a big chunk play interspersed in the middle there. But a couple of negative yardage plays. So, again, want to emphasize, we're not making their good players bad with the difficulty, with the sliders. They're still capable of making good plays. I'm game plan. I'm working my butt off to put together a game plan here and attack this team in a realistic way. And that's one of the other reasons I wanted to do the full game, is you can see that and kind of see where the balance is of, hey, we're going to see if this works. If it doesn't, we go to this. This is something we know we're going to need to work. This is how we're going to get it to work. And all that fun stuff. That's what I love about football. And if you don't, that's great. That's why we still have the short form videos. Keep it simple. Keep it to the point. If you want to hear a gentleman ramble, this is the place for you. 3rd and 2 from the 11-yard line. Barnes in scramble mode now. Talked a little bit in either the Texas State or Wyoming broadcast about how Teron Barnes and his name came about, because again, on the default roster, his name is, you may already know this, Xavier Jarvis, which is outrageous. We won't talk about it again. But anyway, kind of similar to Trevon Boykin from TCU back in the day, if that rings a bell. That's kind of who I've envisioned while utilizing him. Very similar skill set. Maybe a little more athletic than Trevon Boykin, although he was a great athlete. But Trevon Boykin? Teron Barnes. That's the difference in names. Barnes is like 97 change of direction, 95 agility. So I don't know what Boykin would have been rated. Maybe it would have been that high. But regardless, that's my player comp for TB5, as we did all kinds of moving around, and I just decided to take the delay of game ultimately. Instead of using a timeout, gonna bump us back to a 3rd down and 7. We got 3 minutes, 8 seconds to go here in Orlando for the Cure Bowl. Really committed to setting up a power read at some point. I kind of got stubborn about that. Barnes up the middle on a 3rd and 7. Kind of started the slide animation, ended up getting hit. We do not fumble, and it is going to be a 1st and goal. 92 yards rushing for Barnes. I believe he has also passed the 300-yard mark passing-wise, so 400-ish yards combined for TB5. 3 total touchdowns as well. Tremendous outing for him. He's probably candidate number 1 to get an encouraged transfer. Again, not because I would cut him, but just I feel like he is a prime example of a player who would probably look to go to a more prestigious program. Spencer Strickland gets in his 2nd touchdown of the game. Noma. Nation. The dance is here just one more time, perhaps 2.5 minutes or so remaining. But Teron Barnes kind of envisioned him as someone that would have transferred from like an FCS program. Again, he was a sophomore in season 1, junior this year, so kind of figured he'd be someone looking for an opportunity at the FBS level. We'd be sort of the right program that would give that to him. He helps us pop off. He would make sense as someone that would look to go somewhere where he's going to get a little more attention from the NFL and be seen. Not that that couldn't be done at Sonoma, not that there's not a universe where someone like him would stay at a Sonoma State-like school, but I think for the terms of creating realism, and especially early on when you kind of don't have that draw, I think it makes sense. And also, I want to build an offense without a great scrambling quarterback that can be successful as well, just to show that we can, more so than not, because, listen, again, just like in real life, having a quarterback that can run is a huge, huge advantage. It just is. Now, well, I won't get into this, but anyway, it is a huge advantage, no doubt, so, let's not, as much as the perception is that it's kind of cheese to use a scrambling quarterback, it's realistic-ish, the problems it presents. But I certainly agree that the ways they can impact the game allow for people who aren't really understanding what's going on to be successful, and that is certainly frustrating. Right? And so just to show I'm not trying to do that, that's not my goal, that's not what we're going for. As Noah Collins gets a pick, come on Calvin, pay attention to your boys. Here we go. Anyway, but just to show that we're not doing that, I do want to use more of a pocket passing type quarterback. Now we do have a couple of scramblers committed to the team. They are not nearly as good of runners as Teron Barnes is, so even if they do end up being the highest rated quarterback, and again, not totally settled that I'm going to do it, maybe I'll let him play his senior year, kind of depends on who else leaves, how our recruiting class shapes up, and who else transfers out of the program. Kind of a BITCH move of me to put in David DePaul to kneel it down. I just hate ruining the quarterback's running stats with a kneel down. I would never do that in real life, have my backup quarterback go out and kneel the ball down, but no morale punishment here. I don't know. Backup quarterbacks, would you like to go out and knee the ball down? I'm not really sure. I feel like that's just kind of disrespectful to be like, hey, get out there and get some negative rushing yards and send us home. But anyway, I don't know. Wouldn't do this in real life, but for the sake of preserving stats and because it's a video game and no one's, going to yell about it, that's what we're doing. So, David DePaul, a few kneel downs here, and we will send ourselves home with a victory. 42-16, dominant over the Cardinal. Not nearly as competitive this time around. Much better, much better in coverage. Unrealistically so. My initial hunch is honestly no, but again, I will look at that, I will break it down. They created chunk plays, they ran the ball well. I think part of this too is the adaptive AI is going to have to catch back up to what we're doing on defense and kind of refiguring out their strategy. But again, going to continue to evaluate, want to get everything realistic as possible. I will probably do a blog with where the sliders are and my kind of reasoning for everything before we start the next season, but yeah, we will tackle that when the time comes. But for now, it's about celebrating a bowl game victory for Sonoma State. Final seconds ticking off the clock here from 2 wins, if you followed the backstory that we laid out for ourselves in the Texas State pregame article. 2 wins to 10 wins this season for Sonoma State. Likely a top 25 ranking to end the year, and Coach Callie Z and company are on the up and up. A pair of wins this season over Stanford. At some point down the line, we will need to get our revenge against Cal and get a victory against them. They certainly cooked us, and deservedly so, cooked us in the game we had against them. You see Barnes' numbers there, 323 yards passing, 4 total touchdowns, 3 throwing, 1 rushing. So 92 rushing yards, so 415 total yards of offense. Not too shabby of a day for TB5. Fellas celebrating with the fans. Looked like they were singing to the Stanford ones. Very interesting. But quick look at the stats. 317 total yards from Stanford. Averaged over 4 yards per carry on the ground. Maybe should have ran it a little more. They also got down pretty quick early in the game. And they also just didn't get that many snaps with the ball. We really suffocated the time of possession. Barnes, sensational game. Maybe his best game in terms of personal and team success. If you're looking at strictly the numbers, his BYU game in Season 1 was insane. If you have not seen that, I recommend you go back and watch that. Unless you are someone who loves defense, do not give it a look. Pretend it does not exist. Do not ever look at it. You will never want to watch football again because there is not a lick of defense played in that game. But you see the stats for Stanford there. Scotty Edwards, 13 tackles from the free safety position. Can be a sign that your safety is really flying downhill, that he has 13 tackles, or a sign that the offense is cooking you, that he has 13 tackles. I think it's the latter. But the Seawolves, 10-3, wrap up year 2. Thank you for joining us on these first few broadcasts on Rabbit Hole Radio. Your bowl winner, the Sonoma State Seawolves, and we will have you back on the network next season. Thanks, everyone.